know what? Let's talk about it. Before the keyboard warriors start sharpening their virtual pitchforks, let's crack this pop enigma wide open. People seem to have this idea that JLO is some sort of villain, when really she's just another puppet. 20 years ago, JLO was America's sweetheart and everyone was rooting for her to win. But as soon as her underdog status began to fade, so did the general public's belief in her. From humble beginnings to pop royalty, JLO's ascent was a supernova, blindingly bright, then a suddenly cosmic target for every stray meteor of criticism. It's like fame comes in with the built-in villain switch, and the public, bless their fickle hearts, just can't resist flipping it. Maybe it's the thrill of a good takedown, even if the only crime is owning your curves on a dance floor at 53. Who needs logic when you have a perfectly good hate train to catch? Listen, let me be clear. It's perfectly okay to not be a fan of a certain genre of music. It's perfectly okay to not be a fan of her voice. It's perfectly fine to not be a fan of her at all. But to constantly berate her with fictitious accusations simply because the internet told you it's okay to is borderline sociopathic. I think what's important to remember is that the music industry is a business, and as much as we like to think that our favorite artists just sit in the studio all day and create hit albums, that's just not how it actually works. Like any business, there are many different aspects and many different moving parts involved when it comes to creating hit songs. The music industry is like a factory, and their artists are just entry-level employees. When a factory does shady things to their customers, who do you usually hold accountable? That's right, the higher-ups, those in charge. So why do we blame JLO for releasing music she more than likely had no say-so in how it was made? You can say what you want about K-pop fans, but the one thing they do right is hold the companies accountable when things go awry. You will never hear a K-pop netizen blaming an artist for a horrible comeback. But here in the States, we still seem to struggle with realizing who's really to blame. So let's assess some of you guys' favorite attacks on JLO. I'm Real and Ain't It Funny debacle. Ashanti entered the music industry with high hopes of fast superstardom, but unfortunately, she had to pay her dues and prove her worth just like most artists. She wrote songs and sang references on some of the biggest tracks in the early 2000s, one of them being JLO's Ain't It Funny and I'm Real, and both were mega hits for JLO. These singles were rushed out by her record label because they were desperate for a hit, and Ashanti's backing vocals were left on the track. But this wouldn't even be the first or the last time that something like this would happen in the music industry. In fact, it still happens today. It happens all the time.
Y'all, Tyrese just revealed that he actually didn't sing the hook on his hit song, Sweet Lady.
One of the biggest songs I've ever done. I ain't sing none of the backgrounds at all. Sweet Lady. That's all Troy Taylor.
Sweet lady, would you be mine?
But my brain said, well, if I can have a hit song and don't have to sing no backgrounds, I'm good to go.
But doing more research, I discovered that the singer Joe sung background on plenty of hit songs. We're talking about the same Joe on I Don't Want to Be a Player. He even sung the backgrounds and hook on Case's Missing You. Another great example of background vocals is with Ashanti and JLO. Now, we know a little bit of the history, but if you listen closely, you can hear Ashanti saying yeah, yeah on the background. But wait, I just discovered that Taylor Swift co-wrote Rihanna's This Is What You Came For, and they left some of her background vocals on it.
Now, if we can just continue with the JLO conversation, she's also been accused of stealing other people's songs, and that's just not true. In fact, her very first single, If You Have My Love, originally given to the artist Shantae Moore, who's better known for her hit single, Shantae's Got a Man, she recorded her version, If I Gave My Love, for her 1999 album, The Moment Is Mine, and the producer of the song, Rodney Jerkins, better known as Dark Child, wrote a nearly identical version of the song and gave it to JLO. know what? This isn't the first or the last time a producer has given nearly identical song to a different artist. In fact, Ryan Tedder from the famed group OneRepublic, who released the hit song Apologize in 2007, produced the song Halo for Beyonce and Already Gone for Kelly Clarkson. Halo was originally for Leona Lewis, known for her hit song Bleed in Love, but she couldn't record it in a timely fashion and the song ultimately went to Beyonce. But before Beyonce's label said it was okay for her to have the song, he wrote a different version for Kelly Clarkson, thinking that Beyonce was probably just gonna pass on Halo. Both songs were massive hits for both artists. Now you might be asking, why does any of this matter? Matters because it's proof that we can show grace to our favorite artists when they are involved in shady business practices, but we don't extend that grace to JLO, and that doesn't seem to make any sense to me. It's not logical. Now you might be saying, well, fine, she didn't steal the songs, but she still doesn't sing on any of her tracks. Well, we all know that's a lie as well. Whether you care to admit it or not, JLo has a very distinctive voice. We know what she sounds like when she's singing, so why get on the internet and lie and say that she doesn't sing any of her songs? We know she does. Is it the best voice in the world? That's not what we're arguing. We're not arguing about her being the best singer. It's more of, is it her voice on these tracks? And yes, it is. Now I can admit, JLo definitely has ghost vocals of other artists in some of her hits, but so do many other artists who make pop music. It's almost an industry staple at this point. Take for instance Nicki Minaj, who has sole credit for the song Super Bass, but when the track originally released, it featured another artist in the title, Esther Dean, who co-wrote the song. Her backing vocals are very prevalent during the entire chorus, and Nicki's vocals were actually the backing vocals during the chorus. This is just one of many examples of if you're a fan of pop music and you truly expect 100% authenticity, then you definitely have the wrong hobby. Am I saying it's right? No, but you definitely have to expect it, especially in today's music. And again, if you want to hold anyone accountable, make sure you're holding these record labels accountable. And if you feel like JLo definitely deserves her hate, then make sure you're calling out every artist who does the same thing that she does or did. It is important to remember that she did not come into the music industry with a silver spoon in her mouth. She worked to get where she got, and her record label did whatever they had to do to make sure that she won because they wanted a nice return. That's just how the music industry works. I don't understand why we're blaming her. But you know what? Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I don't know what the f I'm talking about. So just let me know down in the comment section what your opinions are and how wrong am I. So the next time you hear JLo's hate train chugging by, remember, it's fueled by a system that thrives on pitting artists against each other. And let's shift the spotlight back to the real villains, the execs who manipulate, exploit, and discard talent for their own gain. Let's demand accountability, transparency, and a music industry that values every artist, not just the one who fits the mold. And to JLo, keep shining your light. Your talent, resilience, and hustle are an inspiration to us all. Peace.